A vice presidential candidate, J.D. Vance, who seems to really hate Donald Trump, made his first campaign appearance yesterday in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, during the Republican National Committee. He is now going with this they shot him, which of course raises the question, who is they? You mean one Republican dude with a gun that Democrats want to ban, right? Here is J.D. Vance yesterday, very much following the script that MAGA has developed in the 5 days since Donald Trump's shooting.
I was so terrified that we had just lost a great president, but it would have been an unbelievably terrible thing for our country in that moment in time. I was just so afraid for him and so afraid for our country. And then, of course, he stands up a minute later after they shot him. They literally shot him. And he raises his fist in the air and he says, fight, fight, fight. He fires up the crowd.
Okay, so J.D. Vance doing the they games. If I were a Republican, which is sort of like kind of hard to even really imagine, because if I were a Republican, I probably wouldn't be thinking this logically. But if I were a Republican and I were thinking logically, I would think to myself, okay, hold on a second. A registered Republican from an apparently right-wing family that would have Trump signs on their lawn tried to kill the Republican nominee, a young registered Republican from a right-wing home, using what has become the de facto Republican weapon of choice, an AR-15. Maybe we should really look inward at what we've been pushing for the last however many years. Instead, they go with, it might have been Antifa. I saw Dave Rubin float, it might have been Antifa. This is somehow Biden's fault. The left is violent, etc. And go with this they thing, which wraps up the fact that there were Democrats in the House and Senate that believed Trump committed impeachable offenses, prosecutors who believe Trump participated in or committed criminal offenses, juries that agreed that Donald Trump committed felonies, a jury that agreed that Donald Trump defamed E. Jean Carroll, and then a lone Republican gunman who shot Trump. They go, that's they. That is they. As opposed to, wow, we seem to have a real problem on our hands, and maybe this isn't such a good idea. No, that's not the way they go about it. J.D. Vance continuing during this event. And, you know, I told you that what Trump likes about J.D. is that J.D. has pledged loyalty and appears to be a complete and total doormat. Here's J.D. bragging about how the Trump brand is synonymous with luxury. This would make Soviet or North Korean propaganda anchors blush. This is so pathetic.
You know, there's another spin on the contrast again between Joe Biden and Donald Trump that I think it's important to take on. You know, President Trump obviously is one of the most successful real estate executives in the history of our country. Of course, the Trump name became synonymous with luxury and with beauty in the real estate world. And Joe Biden, of course, likes to pretend that he's just Scranton Joe. I don't think Joe Biden knows much about what he is or isn't these days.
Right. So as we all know, the Trump brand just completely synonymous with luxury and beauty. So listen, J.D. Vance is doing what he was hired to do. He was hired to uncritically repeat every single one of these bonkers talking points and nonsense statements. They shot him. The Trump brand is so luxurious. And to claim that he will stand by Trump's side no matter what. He's doing it. And that's what they hired him to do.